So any guesses? So this is a SAT prep question though. So we have the equation. This is our equation. Who remembers y equals mx plus b? All right, so y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope. So this would be our slope. And our y-intercept is here. So because we know our y-intercept is -2, we can immediately cross out C and D. It's not going to be C or D. So what do you think is the correct way to write the y-intercept, Isaiah?
Letter B.
Letter B. So the y-intercept, you always start with a 0 because x is 0 and y is -2. All right, let's take out our note packet, flip to the back. And let's look at question number 4 on page 18. Says the number of dogs in the Humane Society quadruples. So let's underline or circle that word because this is going to be our multiplier. Show me with your fingers, if you quadruple, what are you multiplying by? Does anybody know what quadruple means? Multiply by what? It's multiply by 4. Yep. So going back to what we learned yesterday, this is our exponential model. So we know that B is going to be 4. So B equals 4. The model predicts that there will be 2,000 dogs in 4 years. How many dogs are there today? So in this equation, B is what you multiply by, Y is your end, and A is your start. And what they're asking us for is to find the start. That's what they're asking us to find. They told us the end. They want us to find the start. So they want us to kind of work backwards. So we know that Y equals 2,000. And we need to find A. We also know that X is 4. So we know everything in this equation except for A. So let's go ahead and substitute in what we know. So we're going to have 2,000 equals A times 4 to the power of 4. So pick up your calculators and figure out what this number would be. Remember, 4 to the power of 4 does not mean 4 times 4. That means 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. So what's 4 times 4 times 4 times 4? 256. So it's A times 256. Now to solve for A, we have to do the opposite of multiplication, which would be to divide. Now we will get a decimal, but because we're talking about an animal, people, objects, we always round to a whole number. So use your calculator and take 2,000 and divide it by 256. And Babacar, what did you get? What's 2,000 divided by 256? Huh? 7. So you should have a 7 and a point. So again, we're going to round that because we can't have 7.8 dogs. So we're going to round that down to 7. And I would actually take 7 or 8 for our first answer. So our starting value, the start, is approximately 7 dogs. So that's how much we started with. Somebody else knocking at the door? Oh, I'm so sorry. So we started with approximately 7 dogs. That's our start. So we had to go back. So how many dogs are there today? We started with 7. 7 or 8. If you round it up to 8, I will also take that for full credit. Any questions about number 4? All right, let's go to number 5. So it says the number of math problems you are required to do. So this is my multiplier. I'm doubling. If you double, show me with your fingers, what do you multiply by when you double something? What do you multiply by? 2. So B is 2. But this one is tricky because it says every 3 days. So we're going to have to do something with that 3. If you have 40, and that's my ending amount, so I end it, this is my end. On the 6th day, so X is 6, how many did you start with? Initially means starting value. So we have 40 equals, we don't know A, times 2. And then because it's every 6th day and it doubles every 3 days, you're going to take that 6 and divide that by 3. What is 6 divided by 3? 2. So pick up your calculator. What is 2 squared? 2 times 2 is what? 4. Now divide both sides by 4. And you should get 10. So A is 10. So that means that we started with 10 math problems. So that's how much we started with. A is 10. We had to work backwards. All right, any questions about 4 or 5? So now we're going to go to our last page and look at some graphs. Last page of chapter 5. So looking at this graph, it says you saved up to buy a new car. The graph shows the car's value over time. So if you're looking at this graph, so everybody look at the screen. Is my red dot, is that going down or is that going up? Down. So this would be a decreasing graph. It is decreasing because it's going down. It's going down over time, so that's decreasing. The model, the function that would best model this is exponential. Exponential. So what is the starting value? So the starting value, everybody look at the screen. That's where it touches the y-axis. I'm going to zoom in really closely. It looks like that's about here. That's my start. So start is your y-intercept. So it's 12, but notice that it says that this is in thousands of dollars. So that 12 represents $12,000. That's the value, the starting value of the car. So then it says, in what year will the car have a value of 4,000? So 4,000. So this is 4. I'm going to make a dashed line starting at y equals 4. And then I'm going to go down. So what is the x value when y is 4? So I'm looking at this point right here. 7. So in 7 years, that's when the car will be worth for $1,000. All right, so I want you all to do the next one by yourself, and I'm going to come around and see what we get. So take a moment and try to do the next example by yourself. We all got the first part right. Yeah, this is always going to be exponential function. All right, let's see how we did. So everyone who I saw wrote that it was increasing. I do not know why this keeps doing that. Okay, so we all agree that it's increasing, so that's good. And the type of function is exponential. How many coffee shops did we start out with? So if I'm looking here and I zoom in, my y-intercept is here. So I would say 400. Raise your hand if you said 400. That's good. How many coffee shops were there in the year 2000? So this is the tricky one though. Because if we look at our x-axis, it says since 1992. So what you would have to do is subtract 2000 minus 1992, which would give you 8. So that means that the number of years since 1992 would be 8. So if I look at x equals 8 and I trace up to the graph, that would be at the right about here. And when I trace over, it looks like my y value is 2,400 coffee shops. Who picked 2,400 for coffee shops? All right, y'all. So homework 4 is due tomorrow. I am giving extra credit for it today. Before you pack up, let's take it out and let's look at the back side together. So everybody take out your homework 4. If you don't have it, it's in the Monday folder. Homework 4 due tomorrow. extra credit today. So number 5, we just finished doing that one. You could do that one on your own. Let's look at number 6. It says on number 6, the city of Mathville is growing, so this is important, at a rate of 3.5%. The current population is 12,500. So do you think this is going to be exponential growth or decay? Growth. It actually even says it in the question, right? It says growth, right, Daniela? It says growth. So it's growth. Now let's look at the board behind me. Which one of these equations do you think I'm going to use for growth? The first one, the second one. Which one do we use? The first one with the plus sign. So let's write our function rule. A equals, we started with 12,500, parentheses, 1 plus. Now take that 3.5. You always take your percentage and divide it by 100. Take your percent and divide it by 100. Always convert that decimal, that percentage to a decimal. And that would be your function rule for part B. For the function rule, we do not put a t-value in. We leave that as a variable. Now for part C, and the reason why a lot of people lost points on the skills check is it says round to the whole number. So when you type this in your calculator, we do not want a decimal. So go ahead and type this in your calculator and give me the answer without the decimal. When it says a whole number, that means no decimal. So I'm gonna let you all do that one on your own. All right, let's look at number 7. The number of students that attend the winter formal at Pike depreciates at an annual rate of 8%. The number of people that attended the winter formal this year was 410. So is this going to be growth or decay? If something is depreciating, does it go up or does it go down? So this is decay. So we started off with 410. Is this going to be a 1 minus or a 1 plus because it's decay? Minus. Take that 8%, divide it by 100. You always take your percent and divide it by 100. Now use your rule that you wrote in part B to answer part C. You're going to substitute a 5 in. And again, we're talking about people. When we're talking about people, we don't have a decimal. So go ahead and substitute that 5 in and get your answer in, ignoring the numbers after the decimal. All right, and then lastly, let's look at number 8. You do have a factoring question on your test, which is next Wednesday, February 19th. So this is A, B, C. We got to make our box. So we need to find two numbers. This is the tricky one. It multiplies to be 2 times negative 15 and it adds to negative 1. This is tricky. See if you can find your two numbers. They multiply to give you negative 30, but add to give you a negative 1.
So next week, not this week.
It's Wednesday. So it was Friday, but tomorrow we have Black History Combo, so classes are short. Thursday is no school. And I did not want to give a test the day after we didn't have school. So I moved it to Wednesday. Okay. So what are our numbers that multiply to be negative 30 and add to a negative 1? Anybody know? That's tricky. Jaden, you got any ideas? No? I know he's going to say that. I just thought I'd call your name. Anybody? No. It has, so they have to multiply to give you negative 30 and add to a negative 1. What are some numbers that we know multiply to give us 30? Oh, wait, I think somebody about to save us. What'd you say? Negative 6 and what? And positive 5. All right, so now you're going to go ahead and I'm just going to break down the boxes. So this has a 2xx. This box has a 3, a 2, and an x. This box has a 5 and an x. And this box has a 5 and a 3. So I'm going to let you all finish it from there, taking out your GCFs as a reminder of how to factor. After you finish this homework, you can turn it in today again to get your extra credit. And after you turn in your homework, go ahead and start working on your study guide.